Do, 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 do. Ba, 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 ba. We're still counting down. Oh, hi, kia ora. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1991. Breaking Barriers, Expert Tips to Conquer Genealogy Brick Walls. My apology for the pause at the beginning because it does a little count. It goes 3, 2, 1, go. And it went 3, 2. I had to look up in the corner up here to see the timer to see if that was going. So, yeah, we're good. We're good now. We're good. But anyway, so welcome to, it's a beautiful Sunday and I've got things open that shouldn't be open. So I'm just clicking some stuff closed so I get the full bandwidth of everything that I need to do. So how has your weekend been? We today are going to be talking, I've got to put my hand cream on because my hands, for whatever reason, are super, super dry right now. So I have some shea butter that I love for dry skin. Yeah, I keep getting like bits cracking open and things like that. So it's not very comfortable. It's actually hurts the hands. So, but this will give it a moisture boost. I have to find my moisture gloves. I have these gloves that you can put moisturizer on and then you put them on and it helps push the moisture into the skin. They're these gloves and they're really cool and I can't find mine. So I found my socks. I've got socks that do the same thing for the heels. But anyway, all right. So let's talk about, what did I say? Oh yeah, breaking down brick walls. So here's 7 ideas. 7. I think I've got 7. Oh, wasn't I supposed to do a part 2 from last night? Okay, we're gonna have to do that tomorrow. We're going to do part 2 from last night tomorrow. I totally nuddly forgot about it. Okay, so all right, so here are some expert strategies to help you push past the roadblocks, the brick walls, and uncover your family's untold stories. Ugh, my hands are a mess. Anyway, start fresh. Number 1, start fresh. Revisit and verify your research. When you're stuck, take a step back and take a step back, like completely take a step back. Take a break from researching that particular person or that particular branch. Just take a step back and leave it for a day or 2, even a week. I've got some that I've left for a month because when I come back to it, I want to look at it with fresh eyes. And I want to double check my details, re-examine dates, names, locations to catch any overlooked errors. I want to evaluate my sources. Are they reliable? Are they prioritizing primary source like birth or marriage certificates over secondary accounts? Are they cross-reference? Do they cross-reference records? Looking for an agreement across multiple sources. If details conflict, dig deeper to dissolve the discrepancies. Now, with the new Ancestry Pro tools, they can guide you, not fix it for you, but guide you to say, hey, this person doesn't have any documentation. They're just sitting there attached to this tree, but they have no documentation, which would say to me, we need to get some sources in there. We need to find some of the sources and get them cited in there and get them against that listing. There's also times too when you can, hang on, I've got to go back to my other notes here. Evaluate your sources. Ask yourself, are they reliable? Primary sources like birth certificates are gold, birth certificates, marriage certificates. Secondary sources are like family stories, indexes. They can be a little trickier. If you're unsure, grab yourself a copy of this book. This book gives you the details on what a primary source is, what a secondary source is, what a hang on, I got to remember all the terms. I use this quite often. Is it original? Is it a derivative? Is it authored, like a narrative? So first, sources are documents, registers, publications, artifacts, people, websites, etc. They're either original record, derivative record, or authorized narrative. Then you have information is judged by informant's degree of participation or knowledge. It is either primary, which is first-hand experience, secondary, which is second-hand experience, so you heard it from somebody else, and then undetermined, where you don't know where the information came from. Then you have the evidence is based on relevance of information to question and degree of explicitness. It is either direct, which is explicit, indirect, not explicit, negative, not explicit. And that all goes down to, and then that all comes down here. There's your difference. Here's your sources, your information, and your evidence, and it all comes down here to be analyzed. And then you've got your proof down the bottom here. One of the things they tell you in here is that we have to exhaust all possible sources to say it before we give up on a thing. You have to have exhausted all. But this here helps you determine, is it original and all of that. And back in the book here, there's all the definitions there for you as well. In fact, right next door is right next door to the thing. So original. Next page. Back one. Original record, a report of action, observation, utterance, or other event, often but not always made at the time of the event or soon after, and not based on a prior record. The opposite of derivative record, and one of three kinds of genealogical sources. See record. So yeah, so you can go through this. This book is like a little gold mine. It's not a very big book. It's a reference book. It helps you determine the validity of the information you're receiving. Is it original? Is it primary sourced? But not only that, it also tells you how to search and things. And these are the standards that all genealogists need to live by, including things in there. And this is the second revised one, which the second edition revised added in the DNA section, a whole section on DNA, including that in the DNA, whether you're doing the DNA tests for somebody else. In other words, you're managing that, you're getting a client or a family member to do a DNA test, and it's going to come back, and includes in here too to be prepared for surprises, because you never know what's going to show up in DNA. People have found missing family members that they didn't even know existed. They've found out that affairs were had that they didn't know about. But the thing is, and it also talks about confidentiality with the DNA results too. If you are the person who is managing the DNA results, your only person that you can talk to about the DNA results is the person whose DNA test it is. You can't go and talk to their parents and go, hey, this has shown up on your daughter or your son's DNA results. What's the story? You cannot do that. It is up to the person whose DNA test it is to then turn around and go and talk to the affected parties. That's all spelled out in here. It's very, very clear on things that you have to do. But it is a really cool book. I use this a lot. It sits here on my desk. I use it all the time. If I'm not sure on something, I'll just go and look it up. Can I do this? Can I do that? So it's really great. It's a very, very good book of guidance. So yes, so checking your sources and cross-reference material. Evaluate your sources. Number 2, build a comprehensive timeline. Timelines are a powerful tool to organize your ancestry's life story. Chronological events like key events such as births, marriages, deaths, even education, immigration, things like those as well. Identify any missing gaps. Highlight periods where records are missing or inconsistent. So if you have 2 or 3 people that could possibly be the one person you're looking for, put them onto a chart together and then run across what do they have in common, what is out of whack, because that can help you determine too who may or may not be the one that fits in your tree. Or it could be that you've got one person, but there's 2 entries there for them and they need to be merged into one. And add in historical context. Understand local events, migrations, or cultural trends can shed light on your ancestors' movements and choices. Excuse me. Oops, this afternoon. There is a really good extension, Chrome extension. It's called Goldie May. And that's Goldie, new word, MAE. And Goldie May is an extension that you can have open when you're researching genealogy, and you start with your project. You put in what your project is. You put in the question that you are trying to solve, because we've got our hypothesis, our theory that we want to prove or disprove. And then it will follow you all wherever you go on the internet. It will go with you. It logs. It's great for your research log. It automatically logs your research log. You can have it on to do that, or you can have it turned off. But it will detail your research log for you as you're searching through things. Then they have what's called the subway map. And what it is that you want to compare 3 or 4 different people who are all born around that same time that could quite possibly be the person that you're looking for. Now, you may even have a really good idea on who the person is, but you found these other 3, which maybe could be in there as well. And so what it does a subway map. So each person has a different color, and it looks like a subway map. If you've seen subway maps, they've got these lines that go across, and then you can see any big discrepancies in there as well. It's really, really cool for that. And it's one of the best tools out there, and I like using it. I don't have it set up yet, but my goal is when I get down to New Zealand is to get my monitors set up so that I can actually have the Goldie May open on one monitor, because I kind of feel like it's crowded in on my monitor and I don't get to see the full screen. So that's going to go on a second screen, and then this will be here, and it's going to be so much fun. But yes, but that is a great tool for helping find, do we have 3 people who are actually one person, or do we have 3 different people? And who's this 4th person? Their thing's way out of whack, So you got to look at these things. Number 3 is expand your horizons. Your ancestors' story might be hiding where you least expect it. Broaden the geography, research nearby towns, counties, or even countries. Migration was common for work, family, or opportunity. And also to remember, if you're looking at a particular county, see if you can find a map of what the county lines were during that time that your ancestor lived in that area, because county lines were always changing. Town boundaries were always changing. Even names of towns were changing as well. So you need to find maps from those eras so that you can go and have a look to see, maybe they were in a different county. Their town was in a different county. Maybe the town had a different name. So you never know. And then that could help open up opportunities as well. Explore uncommon records like land deeds, military records, newspapers, probate files. They often hold unique clues. They ask questions on those things or have information on there that you won't find on other records, which is really cool. If you're not sure if, sorry, I got really bad dry throat today. Like on the military records, it will tell you who their next of kin is. If they were not married, it may have the name of the mother or the father, and that can help you narrow down as well. I've come across military records where I've had 3 guys, all with the same first names and last names, but their addresses were different, their next of kin was different, and that helped me narrow down and find the one that I needed, because I knew who his father was, but the father wasn't listed on there. It was actually the mother that was on there, so we were able to find it through the mother. Or it could have been a brother that was listed as the next of kin. As it could be a wife, a parent, or a sibling that could be listed as next of kin. Newspapers, there's always good stuff in the newspapers. And probate files, they are very unique. They have testimonies from different people, and it's sort of like, who are these people who are testifying in the probate of your ancestor? Who are these people? Are they people who have a claim on the trust? Are they people who are identifying the body? Are they people who are identifying the person, giving the court an idea on who this person was, their character and things? You never know. All sorts of things come out in wills. And, they may have left something to an illegitimate child that nobody in the family knew they had. And all of a sudden you find it there. And then maybe one day you might get a DNA match from this mysterious person, and now you know where it came from. Consider name variations. Search for alternative spellings, nicknames, or translations of names. Flexible search fields can yield surprising results. But a lot of the times when you're in search fields, when you put in like a name or a date, it's got an exact box underneath it. And you can say, this is exact. I want it exactly spelt this way. Uncheck that box if you're somebody who continually checks it. Uncheck it so it can look for names that sound the same or sound similar, because you never know. Somebody could have heard the name differently and written it down different. Whoever was doing the filling in of whatever it is you're looking at, they may have heard the names different to what they spelt, because the person may not have known how to spell their name at the time. And so it's up to the person who is recording to write down the last person's name, but they may not know how to smell their name. They may not know how to spell the name. Yes. Names now come with smells. Anyway, they may not have known how to spell the name, so they spelled it as best as to them how it sounded. they spell it phonetically, how they thought it sounded, which could be totally different to what it actually was. So be open to looking for variations on the name. And trust me, my mother-in-law, I think I have 27 variations on her last name, on her maiden name, on how it's spelt. Yes, and I've come across records for her or her father or her grandfather where the last name was all spelt these 20, where there's at least one record that has these 27 spellings on it. Or hang on. All 27 variations of these spellings have been used somewhere between these three people over the course of time. That's what I was trying to get out. Collaborate with others. Number 5 is collaborate with others. This is not a solo adventure. Collaboration is key. Join communities, participate in forums, social media groups, or genealogy clubs. Share your research. Others may have tackled similar challenges and offer new ideas. And if you're collaborating with somebody who you are related to, sharing your research is a good thing because they may have access to records or information that you don't have access, and vice versa. Attend events like conferences and workshops can introduce you to innovative techniques and resources. There is a really cool course that I do. It's the last week of July, every year, last week of July. They've been doing it online the last 4 years. I didn't get to go last year, which annoyed me, but I'm going to go this year. And it's, hang on, IGHR, Institute of Genealogy and Historical Research. Yes, this is my pin from the 2023 one where I did advanced methodology. But yeah, they have some great classes, and you do one class throughout the whole week. You start on Monday, you finish Friday at lunchtime. They have events in the evenings where everybody's involved, or otherwise you're in your class during the times they have. When you're on lunch, you have about an hour and a half for lunch, and they have like a meeting hall area with different breakout rooms on different topics and things, and you can move between the different breakout rooms, and they'll have it based on the area that you're in, so you get to know other genealogists in that area because maybe you can collaborate together on a project. They may have ones that are what was one they had one time? Oh, now I'm trying to figure it out. I can't remember. But yeah, so attending events, whether they're live or online, usually the online ones have a way that you can network with other people online as well. We've got Roots Tech coming up here in a couple of weeks, and was it next week? Might be next week. And that's online and in person. So you can either be in person at Roots Tech or you can be online. And Roots Tech is the one that's done by familysearch.org. And they have some really, really cool speakers that come in. They had one that came in was it that one that they had? Pretty sure that was Roots Tech. They had this guy come in one year, and he was talking about the graveyards of Europe and how finding graves can be a very interesting exercise when you go there, because you literally have tombstones on top of tombstones. Like they would have tombstones stacked up against each other. One here, one here, one here. They were literally stacked up, and there was a little gap between where you might be able to read what was on the tombstone. But this one cemetery it looked a mess because there were, like I said, tombstones leaning up against tombstones because they had used that same patch. Because of the population in the small space, they had buried people on top of each other in this thing, and each person had tombstones, and it was a mess. It was very interesting, but it was a mess. Okay, combine number 4. Oh, I missed one. Hang on. I missed number 4. I went 3, 5. Now we're going back to 4. Combine online and offline resources. We talked about this a couple of nights ago on the podcast about, it's not old school. The old school methods are still methods that are used today in conjunction with technology, because at any time there's about 5% or less of the records available are online are at any point in time. Hang on. Brain is not working well today. I'm skipping things. I'm moving. Whew. Okay. Back on track. So all the thousands of records, hundreds of thousands of records that are available online, they represent about 5% or less of all records available. So you still have to do the old format of research of offline, visiting online records and things, archives, libraries, historical societies, courthouses, for unique records that are not available online. And there are, when when you got 5% of all the available records are online, that tells you how many more are out there. And there are some historical societies that have their own records that they will not put online. There are some places where you can still research by microfiche and microfilm. There are, and I know at Family Search, you can actually call up one of the librarians there and have them assist you in a search. Like they'll go and look for a record for you for one that has to be done in person, and it's usually because of the copyrights around the document or the book that you want access to. But once they find it, they can then let you know, will the copyrights allow them to do a photocopy and send it to you, or scan that page and send it to you? Or do you actually have to be there in person to transcribe it? So there's a lot of stuff out there. So online tools, you got platforms like Ancestry, Family Search, MyHeritage, My Family Tree Maker is an offline program that you can use on your computer, and you can sync it with your Ancestry. And they have got extensive digital databases. If you go to familysearch.org, you go to their search page and you go down to Research Wiki, and you can go there and you can put what area you're looking, what state you're looking in, and you can break it down by county. And then they will tell you where the records are located. Can you find them online? If they're online, is it going to cost you anything to see them? Are they available free online? Are they not? If you've got to turn up in person, it tells you what protocols are in place for all of that. So the Research Wiki on familysearch.org is one of the coolest tools that they have, especially if you're researching an area that you don't know much about. It will tell you, what records are available online. And if it's got online records, it will say, these records are there from 1798 through to 1855. And those are the only ones available online. Anything else, you've actually got to be there, and you've got to go to a library or have somebody go to a library for you to look up the records. So very, very good. And then you can also tap into expertise. Historical societies and local genealogists often provide insight tailored to specific regions. If you contact a local historical society or genealogical society, those people there know the region, they know where the records are, and between all the members in the group, they've basically got the entire state covered. Would be my guess, because they've got some very clued on people who have been in that area for years and researching for years. So they have a lot of experience on where to go, what to see, and what to do, and all of that sort of stuff. And they may even offer services where they will go to a place and do research for you. If you provide them with the information, they will go research and see if they can find the records for what you're looking for. But always check that out. If you go to the Genealogical Society's page or the Historical Society's page, somewhere on there will be a way to contact them or request help. And a lot of them are very, some may charge a donation. Most of them are free, where they will go and do the looking for you. But if there's a cost involved, they let you know what the cost is. There may be a cost to get a copy of that documentation that you're looking for. So that's something you have to sort out with them. Okay, so we've done 5, which was collaborate with others. Number 6, reevaluate and innovate your approach. Try traditional method. If traditional methods aren't working, try something new. Test new theories. Form an alternative hypothesis about your ancestors' life and be open to surprises. Maybe you're looking in one particular area and you're not finding very many records. Maybe that's a way of saying, hey, this is not correct. But maybe if you reformat the question, all of a sudden now things open up, because now you're looking at different records and finding the information that you couldn't find before that may support or may not support the original hypothesis. Seek professional help. Seasoned genealogists, we can provide expert guidance to overcome the toughest brick walls. We can help, look over the records, the information you already have, and make suggestions on where to try next and different things to try. And it may include going and visiting an archives or a library or and number 7, the last one, is stay organized and document your progress. Good record keeping is the backbone of successful research. Maintain a research log. Track your activities to avoid duplication and stay on course. Organize your records. Use binders, folders, or digital tools to keep everything easily accessible. And summarize your findings. Regularly review and summarize your discoveries to identify the next steps. It could be that you've spent some time researching this one particular person and you hit the brick wall. And you've kept your note, and you've got a summary of what you've looked at. And because of your research log, you can see where you've already been. And you've now taken that step back. So you've pushed that project aside for a little while. It could be a couple of days, it could be a couple of months, it could be a year. And now you're coming back. And because you have that summary there, that summary of findings in there, you're able to quickly go, oh, that's right, I did this, I did that, and you've got the research log there so you can see what you've already got. You've organized the records so you can see which records you already have, which ones you're missing, which ones you need to find next. It helps you pick up the pieces, pick up from where you left off. I keep my records, so with my clients, even if I've done what they've wanted me to, we've finished the assignment, everything's done and everything else, I still have all of their files and everything else. And every now and again, I might go back and have a look. You never know what you're going to find. But because I have that summary of findings and my records are organized and I've got that research log in there, I can quickly pick up where I left off, and now I can move forward with that research and go set, because records are getting uploaded all the time. And brick walls will test your patience and your perseverance, but every obstacle holds the promise of discovery. Stay motivated, embrace new strategies, and remember that breakthroughs are within reach. The key is to keep exploring and never stop searching for your family's incredible stories. Wow. And I have to tell you, I get super, super excited. If I feel like I'm on the trail, like I'm sort of like, oh, we're on the trail. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know where that came from. When you feel like you're on the trail and you just very carefully pulling that thread, because it could break at any second because you haven't found that little thing that you want yet, that little detail. So you're very carefully pulling the thread towards you to get those records, and you're starting to search, and the thread's starting to get a little thicker. Ooh. If it's starting to get a little thicker, it means that there could be something down here, and you start getting excited and you're trying to pull that thread a little faster. And then you kind of squirrel off onto the sides there and come back again and pick up the thread and keep pulling it. And then you eventually find what it is you're looking for. Or you may not find what you're looking for. You might be out to prove a theory about an ancestor, only to find out it wasn't true. It was one of those stories that started with a speck of truth to it. And sorry, I just had this video pop into my head that I saw today with Lucille Ball in it. It was one of those stranger than fiction stories that was strange. Yeah, it was one of those true stories that was stranger than fiction. And as Mark Twain once said, and I'm paraphrasing this, he said, truth is stranger than fiction. That's why fiction has to make sense. So this particular one, Lucille Ball was telling about the time during World War II. I don't know where she was. I don't know the location of where she was. If they mentioned it, I've forgotten it. But she had been to the dentist to get some temporary fillings put in. And she was driving. She had left there and she was driving, and she could hear this going on in her teeth. And she's like, that's a little weird. And so she said she stopped the car and backed up. And the further she backed up, the more was going on. And it started on the other side of her jaw as well, on both sides. So she had it going on both sides, and her teeth, she could hear this. And so when she got to the studio, she told the security guards about it. And it turned out that her teeth, what she was hearing was Morse code from the Japanese spies, and they actually busted his Japanese spy ring based on the Morse code going through her teeth. And she said it was a true story. So, as I said, truth is stranger than fiction. And I thought, there is no way you could make something like that up. But I thought it was a really, really cool story, and I'm just sitting there cracking up laughing, and she's sitting there deadpan face saying, seriously, it's true. So she helped uncover this secret Japanese spy ring thing that was sending messages by Morse code through the temporary fillings in her teeth. You never know. Maybe there's a whacked out story somewhere out there about one of your ancestors as well. You just got to keep on it and keep persevering. There are times you do have to take steps back and come back to it at a later date, be it 1 day, be it 3 days, be it 4 years. It doesn't matter. At some point, you're going to pick that thread up again. And if you've got your records organized and you've got your notes organized and everything else, you know exactly where it is. And it doesn't take you long to get back into the swing of searching for that particular one. So with that, oh, hang on. And my question for you tonight is, I've got it written over here. Was my question. Have you ever hit a brick wall in your genealogy research and felt stuck? What if the breakthrough you need is just one fresh approach away? And with that, we are out of here. Let us know the answer to those questions in the comments. We're out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. And tomorrow night is Monday, which means I won't be on until 6:30 p.m. around 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, because I got a class that goes from 5 to 6:30. And they used to have it every other week. They're doing it weekly right now. So yeah, we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening around 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, Konera, have a super fantastic